Creepy music, 1 hour.
Here are some matching videos.
The monkey. When Hall Shelburne saw it, when his son Dennis pulled it out of the moldering Ralston Purina, okay, I want to read something else. Where's one that's relatively short? That was... Nope, I think that is the monkey in it. Where's the miss? The monkey... Last year there'd be tigers. That's the monkey, which is thick. Then, what's this? Is this Miss Todd's shortcut? Cain rose up. Ew. This is 3 pages long. 3 sheets, actually, so it'd be 6 pages. Alright, here we go. Cain rose up. Garish walked out of the bright May sunshine and into the coolness of the dorm. It took his eyes a moment to adjust, and at first Harry the Beaver was just a bodiless voice from the shadows. It was a bitch, wasn't it? The Beaver asked. Wasn't that one really truly bitch? Yes, Garrus said, it was though. Now his eyes pulled in the Beaver. He was rubbing a hand across the pimples on his forehead and sweating under his eyes. He was wearing sandals and a 69 t-shirt with a button on the front that said, Howdy Doody was pervert. Howdy Doody. He had a button on the front that said Howdy Doody was a pervert. Okay then. The Beaver's huge buck teeth loomed in the gloom. I was gonna drop it in January, the Beaver said. I kept telling myself to do it while there was still time, and then ad drop was over and it was either go for it or pick up an incomplete. I think I flunked it, Kurt, honest to God. The house mother stood in the corner by the mailboxes. She was an extremely tall woman who looked vaguely like Rudolph Valentino. She was trying to push a slip strap back under the sweaty armhole of her dress. Ew. With one hand while she tacked up a dorm sign out sheet with the other. Tough, Garish repeated. I wanted to bag a few of you, but I didn't dare, honest to God. That guy's got eyes like an eagle. You think you got your A all right? I guess maybe I flunked, Garish said. The beaver gaped. The Beaver gaped. You think you flunked? You think you... I'm going to take a shower, okay? Yeah, sure, Kurt. Sure. Was that your last test? Yes, Garrish said. That was my last test. Garrish crossed the lobby and pushed through the doors and began to climb the stairwell. Smelled like an athletic sporter. Same old stairs. His room was on the 5th floor. Quinn and that other idiot from 3, the one with the hairy legs, piled by him, tossing a softball back and forth. A little Fila wearing horn-rimmed glasses and valiantly struggling goatee passed him between 4 and 5, holding a calculus book to his chest like a Bible, his lips moving in a rosary of logarithms. His eyes were blank and as blackboards. Garrish paused and looked after him, wondering if he wouldn't be better off dead, but the little... What? I've never read this page before. I have. Guess I don't remember reading that sentence then. Oh, my foot got numb for a second. Alright. Okay. Garrish paused and looked after him, wondering if he wouldn't be better off dead, but the little fella was now only a bobbing, disappearing shadow on the wall. It bobbed once more and was gone. Garrish climbed to 5 and walked down the hall to his room. Pigpen had left 2 days ago. 4 finals in 3 days. Wabam and thank you, ma'am. Pigpen knew how to arrange things, and he had left only his pin-ups, 2 dirty, mismatched sweat socks, and a ceramic parody of Rodden's Thinker perched on a toilet seat. Garrish put his key in the lock and turned it. Kurt, hey Kurt, Rollins, the asinine floor counselor who had sent Jimmy Brody up to visit the dean of men for a drinking offense, was coming down the hall and waving at him. He was tall, well-bit, crew-cut, symmetrical. He looked varnished. My foot. My foot's waking up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up, foot. Okay. I'll just deal with that. Okay, you all done? Rollins asked. Yeah. Don't forget to sweep the floor of the room and fill out the damage report, okay? Yeah. I slid a damage report under your door last Thursday, didn't I? Yeah. If I'm not in my room, just slide the damage report and the key under the door. Okay. Roland seized his hands and shook it twice, fast pa-pum. Roland's palm was dry and the skin grainy. Shaking hands with Roland's was like shaking hands with a fistful of salt. Have yourself a good summer, my man. Right. Don't work too hard. No. Use it, but don't abuse it. I will and I won't. Rollins looked momentarily puzzled, and then he laughed. Take care now. He slapped Garrish's shoulder and then walked back the hall, pausing once more to tell Ron Frayne to turn down his stereo. Garrish could see Rollins lying dead in a ditch with maggots in his eyes. Rollins wouldn't care, neither would the maggots. You either hate the world or the world you either ate the world or the world ate you, and it was okay either way. Garrish stood thoughtfully, watching until Rollins was out of sight, and then he let himself into his room. With Pigpen's cyclonic clutter gone, and it looked barren and sterile. The swirl-heaped, drifted pile that had been Pigpen's bed was striped down to the bare, if slightly cum-stained. What? Striped down to the bare, if slightly cum-stained. Okay. It says cum-stained. Like come here and then stained. I'm not sure what that means. Slightly cum-stained mattress pad. 2 Playboy gatefolds looked down at him with frozen 2-dimensional cum-ons. I'm getting uncomfortable. Not much change in Garish's half of the room, which had always been barracks neat. You could drop a quarter on top of blanket of Garish's bed, and it would bounce. All that neat and had gotten on Piggy's nerves. He was an English major with a fine turn of phrase. He called Garish a pigeon holder. The only thing on the wall above Garish's bed was a huge blow-up of Humphrey Bogart that he had gotten in the college bookstore. Bogey had an automatic pistol in each hand, and he was wearing suspenders. Pigpen said pistols and braces were impotency symbols. Garish doubted if Bogey had been impotent. Impotencies. Impotent. What does impotent mean? The only thing on the wall doubted his Bogey was impotent, although he had never read anything about him. He went to the closet door, unlocked it, and brought out a big walnut-stocked .352 Magnum that his father, a Methodist minister, had bought him for Christmas. He had bought the telescope sight himself last March. If you weren't supposed to have guns in your room, not even hunting rifles, but it hadn't been hard. He had signed it out of the university gun storage room the day before with a forged withdrawal slip. He put it in his waterproof leather scabbard and left in the woods behind the football field. Then this morning around 3 a.m., he just went out and got it and brought it upstairs through the sleeping corridors. He sat down on the bed with the gun across his knees and wept a little bit. Wept a little bit? Crossed his knees and, wept, like cry. The thinker on the toilet seat was looking at him. Garish put the gun on his bed, crossed the room, and slapped it off Piggy's table onto the floor, where it shattered. There was a knock at the door. Garish put the rifle under his bed. "Come in." It was Bailey, standing there in the skeevies. There was a puff of lint in his belly button. Ew. There was no future for Bailey. Bailey would marry a stupid girl and they would have stupid kids. Later on, he would die of cancer or maybe renal failure. How was the chem final, Kurt? All right. I just wondered if I could borrow your notes. I've got it tomorrow. I burned them with my I burned them with my trash this morning. Oh, hey, Jesus, did Piggy go and do that? He pointed at the remains of the thinker. I guess so. Why did he want to go and do that? I liked that thing. I was going to buy it off of him. Bailey said Bailey had sharp, ratty-like features. His skeevies were thready and saggy-seated. Garish could see exactly how he would look dying of emphysema or something in an oxygen tent. How he would look yellow. I could help... Wait, what the heck? Garish could see exactly how he would look dying of emphysema? Never even heard of that. Define emphysema.
Emphysema, a condition in which the air sacs of the lungs are damaged and enlarged.
Oh, the lungs are damaged. It's something about the lungs. So you could see him dying. Could exactly how it would look. Dying of emphysema or something in an oxygen tent. How he would look yellow. I could help you, Garish thought. The heck? Is he like is he psychic or something? Is that what this story is about? You think he'd mind if I scoffed up those pinups? I guess not. Okay. Bailey crossed the room, stepping his bare feet gingerly over the pottery shards, and untacked the playmates. That picture of Bogart is really sharp, too. No tits, but hey, you know. Bailey peered at Garish to see if Garish would smile. When Garish did not, he said, I suppose you planned on throwing it away or anything. Okay. No, I was just getting ready to take a shower. Okay, have a good summer if I don't see you again, Kurt. Thanks. Bailey went back to the door, the seat of his skeevies flapping. He paused at the door. Another 4 point this semester, Kurt? At least. Good deal. See you next year. He went out and closed the door. Garish sat on his bed for a little while, and then took the gun out, stripped it, and cleaned it. He put the muzzle up to his eye and looked at the tiny circle of light at the far end. The barrel was... What the heck? The barrel was clean. He reintegrated the gun in the third drawer of his bureau were 3 heavy boxes of Winchester ammunition. He laid these on the windowsill. He locked the room's door and went back to the window. He pulled the blinds up. The mall was bright and green, peppered with strolling students. Quinn and his idiot friend had gotten up a wrangle-tangle softball game. They scurried back and forth like crippled ants escaping a broken burrow. Let me tell you something, Garish told Bogey. God got mad at Cain because Cain had no idea God was a vegetarian. his heck his brother knew better. God made the world in his image, and if you don't eat the world eats you. So Cain says to his brother, "Why didn't you tell me?" And his brother says, "Why didn't you listen?" And Cain says, "Okay, I'm listening now." So he waxes his brother and says, "Hey God, you want meat? Here it is. You want roast or ribs?" Or says, "You want roast? Wait, you want, where was I again? You want roast or ribs or apple burgers or what?" And God told him to put on his boogie shoes. Boogie shoes? So, what do you think? No reply from Bogey. Karish put the window up and rested his elbows on the ledge, not letting the barrel of the .352 project out into the sunlight. He looked into the sight. He was centered on Carleton Memorial Women's Dormitory across the mall. Carleton was more popularly known as the Dog Kennels. He put the crosshairs on a big Ford wagon. A blonde coat and jeans and blue shell top was talking to his mother while her father, red-faced and balding, loaded suitcases into the back. Someone knocked on the door. Garish waited. The knock came again. "Kurt, I'll give you a half a rock for the Bogart poster." Bailey. Bogart poster. Bailey. Garish said nothing. Why is there just a paragraph that says Bailey? Whatever. Garish said nothing. The girl and her mother were laughing at something, not knowing there were microbes in the intestine. What the frick? Not knowing there were microbes in their intestines, feeding, dividing, multiplying. This guy is like psychic and know how everyone's going to die. What the shiznit? Garish said nothing. The girl and her mother were laughing, sometimes at something, not knowing that there are microbes in their intestines, feeding, dividing, and multiplying. The girl's father joined them, and they stood in the sunlight together, a family portrait in the crosshairs. "Damn it all," Bailey said. His feet padded down the hall. Garish squeezed the trigger. The gun kicked hard against his shoulder. The good padded kick. Where did he squeeze the trigger at? The gun kicked hard against his shoulder. The good padded kick you get when you have seated the gun in exactly the right place. This smiling girl's blonde head sheared itself away. What the heck? So he just shot the girl. Her mother went on smiling for a moment, and then her hand went to her mouth. She screamed through her hand. Garish shot through it. Hand and head disappeared in a red spray. The man who had been loading the suitcases broke into a lumbering run. Garish tracked him and shot him in the back. He raised his head, looking out of the sight for a moment. Quinn was holding the softball and looking at the blonde girl's brains. Oh, God. Which were splattered on the no parking sign behind her prone body. Oh, my God. Quinn didn't move. All across the mall, people stood frozen like children engaged in a game of statues. Somebody pounded on the door, then rattled the handle. Bailey again. "Kurt, you all right? Kurt, I think somebody's good drink, good meat, and good God. Let's eat." parking sign in front of body. Quinn didn't move. All across the mall, people stood for blah, blah, blah. Somebody pounded on the door, then rattled the handle. Bailey again. Kurt, you all right? Kurt, I think somebody's good drink, good meat. Good God, let's eat, Garish exclaimed, and shot Quinn. Oh my God, who's Quinn? He pulled instead of squeezing and the shot went wide. Quinn was running, no problem. The second shot took Quinn in the neck and flew maybe 20 feet. And he flew maybe 20 feet. Kurt Garish is killing himself. Bailey was screaming, Rollins, come quick. His footsteps faded down the hall. Now they were starting to run. Garish could hear the screaming. Garish could hear the faint smack around of their shoes on the walks. He looked up at Bogey. Bogey held his two guns and looked beyond him. He looked at the shattered remnants of Piggy's thinker and wondered what Piggy was doing today. If he was sleeping or watching TV or eating some great big wonderful meal. Eat the world, Piggy, Garish thought. You gulped that sucker right down. The heck? Garish, it was Rollins now, pounding on the door. Open up, Garish. It's locked, Bailey panted. He looked lousy. He killed himself, I know it. Garish pushed the muzzle out of the window again. A boy in a Madras shirt was crouched down behind a bush, scanning the dormitory windows with desperate intensity. The heck? Pervert. He wanted to run for it, Garish saw, but his legs were frozen. Good God, let's eat, Garish murmured and began to pull the trigger again. What in the shiznit was that story? The frick? Well, that was Cain Rose Up. It only mentioned Cain like once. I wonder if Cain was No, Garish was the main character, shooting everybody. I don't know who Cain was. Just what the frick was that story, man? This is what would happen if Goosebumps books took some acid, cocaine, and LSD all at the same time. LSD is acid, right? Stephen King has a messed up mind, man.